Thank you. Actually, I have two questions. The first one is on manifestation. Say there is so many schools of thought. One says like create a vision board and forget about that.
Slow down.
Okay.
So many different schools of thought. One says
Create a vision board and forget about that. Let go.
create a vision board and forget about it. Let it go.
And second one says like visualize and let go. And your mode is like keep on feeling good as often as possible every day.
So here's the distinction. We know that if you've been listening to us for a while, you've even found some confusion in what we teach, because we say you are a deliberate creator, be a deliberate creator. And then we say, practice the art of allowing. You've already created it all. Now just chill out and allow what you've created to be. So here's the distinction. If you know, because you've practiced feelings of satisfaction, that you're in the receiving mode, then focus and turn on the gas. But if you know, because of your feeling of dissatisfaction, that you're in a different receiving mode, then slow it down as best you can by distracting yourself from it.
So where does this belief factor comes into picture? Don't we have to address that belief thing, like which is the cause and the effect is something as manifestation?
Well, it seems that you would, but actually the belief factor has already done its work. Because, and we've not said this before, we are so appreciating this important and leading edge question. When something occurs that causes a launching of desire, beliefs that are contrary to the laws and how they work cause a launching of desire to understand how the laws do work. And even though the new desire, which your inner being then embraces, was born from not understanding, out of the not understanding was born understanding that then you got to figure out how to understand. Because your inner being stands knowing your power and knowing your value and knowing a path that's going to be pleasing for you and is calling you constantly. So as your inner being is calling you, and because of what you believe you're not coming, your inner being calls you more and you still don't come, and your inner being calls you more and you still don't come, and eventually there is a sort of crisis of experience that causes you to ask for something that you could never have asked for before if that hadn't happened. And when that asking happens, your inner being says, the asking happened. And your inner being holds you now steady in that new place that a part of you in your humanness came to. And then your inner being holds that place, holds it steady and offers the frequency of it. And now it's easier for you to find it than ever before, because you, from your humanness, gave birth to it. So for sure you can achieve it. Because if this time-space reality has the wherewithal to produce a desire, it can produce the complete manifestation of the desire.
And coming back to the second question, like a man who is dependent on the stick to walk. So likewise, we have
a man who is dependent upon the stick to walk.
Yeah. Crutches, yeah.
Crutches.
So likewise, we have been given the tools which we have to consciously implement to be in touch with the consciousness.
Yeah.
So this is a conscious act. But there are some realized beings who are limited. My understanding is they are already living from the place of consciousness unconsciously. They don't have to do anything. It just happens to them. That's my understanding.
Well, that's what we've been talking about, is that when you release thought, which means you release limiting beliefs, then you're unlimited.
But how come they have done that and we have to always depend on this crutch to be in connection with the source?
It's a limiting belief. Does it feel to you that our encouragement for your connection with source is a crutch?
It's not a crutch. It seems more like a conscious act, which when I do it, I'm feeling good. But most of the time, I'm driven by the unconscious thing. So it feels like an effort from my side.
More and more, that will become less and less.
So this is the only thing which we do. So from conscious, it becomes the unconscious
But
part.
you see, that edge that you feel, that you almost want to get rid of, serves you so well. You said, I'll go out on the leading edge, and I'll discover things that cannot be discovered unless I am out on the leading edge. And once I discover them, even though I won't fully understand them, I'll send a rocket forward. And then your inner being said, and when we get that rocket, we'll contemplate it, we'll be it, we'll focus upon it completely, and we'll call you home to it. You might have to croak before you come home to it, but we'll call you home to it. And then we all said, oh, how pleasurable it's going to be to close that gap.
But there are many people like who don't have the desire to even think in such lines like there is a source exists, and when we connect.
Well, maybe not a desire that is on par with yours, but no one can live without producing desire. But a lot of people have come to believe that as fast as desire is born, they should squelch it because they feel the discord. We say, if you're going 100 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it's a big problem. If you're going 5 miles an hour and you hit a tree, not such a big problem. So a lot of people say we should all go 5 miles an hour because then when we hit a tree, it's not a big problem. But law of attraction won't let you keep your speed at 5 miles an hour. And don't you admit it's more fun to go faster? So you say, yeah, it's more fun to go faster, but it's not fun to hit trees. So we say, watch where you're going. Pay attention to those limiting beliefs. And as you release them, or just deactivate them, or don't keep bringing them forward, then you can go faster and faster and have more fun. And then you say, but what about those who aren't having more fun? And we say, the best you can do for them is to teach to the clarity of your own alignment. You cannot get sick enough to help a sick person become well. And you cannot get poor enough to help a poor person become more prosperous. And you cannot get confused enough to help a confused person become clear. It's only through your thriving, through your alignment, that you have anything to offer any others.
So I used to wonder about these people like who we call it as they know all knowing, like Jesus, Moses, and yogis, seers. So why were they chosen compared to the others who have been made from the same source? Because if there is a cause, there must be effect. I'm trying to understand what is the cause. So we chose some specific people to do such things compared to others who have to be always the followers.
Well, that's a misunderstanding. Every one of you has an inner being, and every one of you has access to all of this. But sometimes those like Esther, those like you, those like Jesus find alignment, and then with it find satisfaction and knowing, and then others who are in the vicinity benefit by what they know. There does not need to be one intermediary between you and your source. And look what usually comes of it when they make someone that. In the beginning, when Jerry realized that Esther was communicating with Abraham, and he said, isn't this potentially worrisome? Don't those kind of people usually end up with some horrible death? And we said, not all of them. Some people just like the drama. You do, you like the drama. And you like the justification, and you like the explaining it in that way. Do you feel how clear you feel right now? Doesn't life feel good to you? Don't you feel open-ended? Don't you feel eternal? Don't you feel eager about life? Doesn't it feel simpler to you? Aren't you sort of willing to just get out into the day and not think too hard and not try to figure it all out at once, but just take your happy being and let the universe respond to you in the way it responds to happy beings? Yeah.
Yeah, one final thing, like, is there any specific reason you don't wear shoes? Is it something? It's
easier for us to inspire Esther to better balance without them, because the shoes restrict. And if you notice, we are squirming around. In her stationary position, we are wanting to keep the juices flowing within her. Some might say it is more grounding. That's not what we're about at all. It's just more satisfying.
All right, thank you so much.